Hi, ich bin Marco von
Hi,
iDoc.
I'm Marco from iDoc. If your phone doesn't last long anymore and the battery is running low, you can replace it by yourself with this guide.
Die Reparatur ist
The
etwas
repair is a bit more difficult because the back cover is strongly glued. You need about 60 to 90 minutes. For the repair, we recommend the following tools.
Das Ersatzteil findest du in
You'll
unserem
find the spare part in our store as well as high-quality tools in our repair kit along with the handy magnetic mat. The links can be found in the info box below. On our website idoc.eu you will find this manual with detailed photos and videos for each step. And now have fun with the repair.
bei der Reparatur.
You should always turn off your phone at the beginning of the repair. This will prevent damage caused by short circuits after you have opened the device. Here in the video you can see another smartphone because our device could no longer be switched on. The back cover is glued to the frame at the edge. Heat the device evenly with hot air so the adhesive can be loosened better. A temperature of 60 to 80 degrees Celsius should be sufficient. The following rule of thumb will help you. The device should still be touchable without being unpleasantly hot. If you don't have a hot air gun, you can also use a normal hairdryer. The easiest way to remove the rear glass is with a flat and flexible tool like the iPlastix or the iFlex. In addition, several picks will help you to gradually loosen the glue. You can use a suction cup to pull the back cover up while pushing the frame down. This creates a small gap where you can place your tool. The iPlastix has the advantage that it is made of plastic and does not scratch the frame, but it is very soft and difficult to insert. With the iFlex you can get directly into the narrow gap. However, you should continue with a plastic tool as soon as possible to avoid scratching the rear glass. Then warm up the spot where you want to loosen the glue next. Once the tool is inserted, insert a plectrum into the gap to keep it open. Then pull the tool around the entire edge to gradually loosen the glue. Be especially careful not to lever too hard as the back glass can easily break. If necessary, heat the glass several times. It may take a while to loosen the rear glass. Better spend a little more time and work carefully to avoid breaking anything. The rear glass is mainly glued at the edge and at the top and bottom. Once the rear glass is loosened everywhere, you can put it aside. All components in the device are covered by a black graphite foil, which improves heat distribution. The foil is glued at the top and bottom. You can reheat the adhesive to loosen it more easily. Loosen the foil on the upper side and fold it down. If the foil tears at one spot, it is no problem. The battery connector is located under a silver cover. Loosen the cover screws with a matching screwdriver. You will need a Phillips screwdriver, size PHOO. The screws are 2.8 mm long. The cover plate is hooked into the upper end. Lift the plate on the lower side with the tweezers and take it out. Now you can disconnect the battery. Always use a plastic tool such as a spudger. With a metal tool you run the risk of short-circuiting the battery. The battery is very strongly glued in the device. In order not to cause damage to the mainboard, we remove it beforehand for safety reasons. Next, remove the two camera modules. The camera contacts are secured with a cover. Loosen all screws first. One of them is covered with a white sticker. You can remove it carefully and attach it again later. The screws in the Honor 10 have different lengths. Take care not to mix them up. You can use a magnetic pad to sort and store small parts and screws during repair. The cover is hooked in several places. Use tweezers, for example, to carefully lever the cover to gradually loosen it. Then you can remove the cover. Now you can remove the two camera modules. Carefully loosen all connectors on the board and then remove the cameras. Make sure that no dirt or fingerprints get on the camera lenses. Loosen all other contacts on the main board. This includes the connection cables for the display and the lower board. Be careful with the small filters and ICs on the board. At the upper edge there is also a black antenna cable. Loosen the contact of the antenna with a slight rotation of the tweezers. Now remove the SIM holder if it is still in the device. Lever the board slightly upwards on the upper side until you can hold it and then take it out. First fold down the heat shield. The speaker is fixed with several screws, lightly glued and hooked to the frame. Loosen the Phillips screws. Then lever it in several places until you can lift the speaker a little and take it out. First remove the flex cable running over the battery. Loosen the connector with a spudger and remove the cable. Next we remove the USB-C board again for safety reasons. This step is optional. The battery can also be removed without this disassembly. Loosen the small contact for the fingerprint sensor. Use the tweezers again to disconnect the black antenna cable and lever it out of the metal clamps. Carefully lever up the USB board with a spudger. Push it out of the frame to release it. Then remove the board from the device. Make sure that the rubber seals for the USB socket and the headphone socket remain on the board. If they remain in the case, take them out and reattach them to the board. The battery is glued into the case. You can loosen the glue more easily by warming it up again. But never heat the battery directly, but heat it from the display side. Again, keep heating for as long as you can still touch it. Then slide a flat tool like the iPlastix under the battery. If you can't get it under the battery, you can also use a wider, more stable tool like the battery spudger. Once you can lift the battery a little, switch to a more flexible tool like the iPlastix. Then move the tool around and gradually lift the battery out of the device. Try to bend the battery as little as possible and take care not to damage its surface. Take enough time and warm up several times to loosen the glue more easily. If the battery is accidentally damaged, we recommend using a new battery as a precaution. Then take your new battery and remove the protective film over the adhesive surface. If your spare part doesn't have a new adhesive surface, we recommend using thin double-sided adhesive tape to glue the battery back into the device. Then insert the battery again. Make sure that it has some space on all sides and is not pressed against one side. Make sure that the rubber seals for the USB socket and the headphone socket are attached to the board. Position the board at the bottom edge and press it down until it is in place. Press the black antenna cable into the silver clamps and connect it. For this you can use tweezers and a spudger. Make sure that the contact snaps into place. Connect the fingerprint sensor and the iFlex cable. The white arrow on the cable must point upwards. Position the speaker at the bottom edge and press it down evenly until it sits correctly. Now you can fix it with the different Phillips screws. Don't swap the screws, the silver screws are a little longer. Insert the motherboard into the device and make sure not to pinch any cables under the board. Slightly push the motherboard down, but do not use force. Insert the SIM holder. If it gets stuck, don't push it in with force, but check if the main circuit board is properly positioned. Then connect the two flex cables and the antenna cable. You can use a pair of tweezers to position the antenna and connect it with a spudger. Place both camera modules in their openings. Make sure there is no dirt or fingerprints on the lenses or glass cover in the display. Connect the connectors. Make sure they snap into place with a slight click. Position the cover on the bottom edge. There, it must be hooked in. Then press the cover tight everywhere until it fits properly. Fasten the cover with the screws of different lengths. You can now also reattach the white moisture indicator. Finally, connect the battery to the main board. Place the cover on the upper edge where it is hooked in. If it sits correctly, you can fasten it. Finally, fold over the black foil and glue it back in place. There are several ways to put the back cover back on again. If the existing adhesive is still in place and available in all places, you can use it again. If not, you will have to use new glue. First, remove all old glue residues. Then apply the new glue. You can use thin double-sided tape or liquid glue. Be very careful with the glue and make sure it doesn't get into the device. Place the back cover flush on the frame and make sure it is exactly centered. Press it firmly so that the adhesive bonds properly. You can also warm it up a little and clamp it between a few books for 30 minutes to get the glue to bond properly. The repair is now finished and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, suggestions or hints, please write it in the comments below. We will be happy to help you. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.
Bis zum nächsten Mal.